So today what we're going to work on is the equation of a circle. So it's part of our conic section. So we'll be doing circles, parabolas, and ellipses. So I would like you to put me on pause, try this, and then come back and let's see what you remember. Okay, so this says to write the equation for a circle. So the equation for the circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to the radius squared. And remember, HK is the center. Okay, now notice that in the formula, it's negative h and it's negative k, but the center is positive h, positive k, so you have to remember to change the sign. And r is your radius. So notice that in the formula, what it equals is r squared. So to get r, you have to do the square root of that number there to get your r. All right, so let's take a look at the first thing. It says to identify the center and the radius of the circle, and then sketch examples 1 and 2. All right, so let's take a look at number 1. We have x plus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared is equal to 64. So the center is negative 2 comma 1. Remember, you changed the signs. So positive 2 becomes negative 2, negative 1 becomes positive 1, and the radius is the square root of 64, which is 8. Because remember, this number here is r squared. It's your radius squared. So let's plot the center. So it's negative 2, 1. And since the radius is 8, you're going to go up 8. Put a point, put a dot. To the right, 8. Down 8. And to the left 8. And draw your best circle that you can. Make sure it does not look like a diamond. A circle is curved. So hopefully your circle looks a bit better than mine. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. So notice that I just have x squared. There's nothing being added to x here, so that means that your h is 0. So it's 0 comma positive 4. And your radius is the square root of 1, which is 1. So we're going to plot 0, 4. And the radius is 1. So it's a tiny circle. It's just up, down, left, right, 1. So it looks like that. All right, and number 3 is, so notice for x and y, I'm not adding or subtracting anything. So the center is 0, 0. That's the origin. And the radius, that's your center. And your radius is the square root of 6. You can't take the square root of 6. It's an irrational number, so we just leave it as the square root of 6. All right, so let's take a look at what's down at the bottom here. Okay, so the next section says, write the equation of the circle given its center and the radius. Okay, so let's write the formula down for the equation of a circle. So remember, that's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to the radius squared. So 5 negative 3 would be my hk, and 4 is my radius. Now remember, when you plug the center back in, you have to change the sign. So it's not going to be x minus x plus 5, it'll be x minus 5 squared plus y plus 3 squared is equal to 4 squared, and you have to simplify that. So it's x minus 5 squared plus y plus 3 squared is equal to 16. All right, let's take a look at 2. So we have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to the radius squared. So hk is 10, negative 10, 0, and my radius is the square root of 15. So it's going to be x plus 10 squared plus y minus 0 squared is equal to the radical 15 squared. So this would be x plus 10 squared plus y minus 0 squared is just y squared, and radical 15 squared is just 15. All right, let's take a look at 3. So equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to the radius squared. So 0, 0 is my hk. and 2 radical 3 is my radius. So it's x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared is equal to 2 radical 3 squared. So x minus 0 squared would be just x squared, plus y squared, that's the y minus 0. And now 2 radical 3 squared would be 4 the square root of 9. The square root of 9 is 3, so that would be 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, so let's take a look at the graphs. So it says to write the equation of a circle given the sketch of its graph. So in order to write the equation, you have to identify the center and the radius. So find the diameter, count the diameter. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is my diameter. So my radius would be half of that, and that would be 6. So count 6, and that'll give you your center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's my radius is 6, and my center, this point right here, is 3, negative 4. So that's my center. So my equation will be x minus 3 squared plus y plus 4 squared is equal to the 6 squared, which is 36. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. Count the diameter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The length is 6. Half of 6 is 3. So 1, 2, 3. So my radius is 3 and my center is 0, 0. So let's write that down. Center is 0, 0 and the radius is 3. So that would be x squared plus y squared is equal to 9. Okay, so let's flip it over and take a look at what we have on the back. Okay, so back here what we're going to work on is putting the equation of a circle that's in standard form. So notice here, it's multiplied out. It's taking x minus h squared and multiplying it out, and x minus k squared and multiplying it out, and combining like terms and getting it equal to 0. So we're taking it from standard form and we're going to put it in center radius form, which is what we were doing, which is x minus h squared plus 1 minus k squared. In order to do this, you want to complete the square. All right, so to complete the square, since we have x's and y's, you're going to group your x's together, you're going to group your y's together, and then you're going to move the constant to the other side. You're going to complete the square twice. You're going to complete the square for the x's and the y's. When you're done, you'll be able to identify the center and the radius. Okay, so let's group the x's together. So I have x squared plus 10x. I'm going to put the y's together. Plus y squared minus 14y. And that's going to equal my constant, which is, I'm going to minus 10 from both sides. So it'll equal negative 10. All right, so now I'm going to complete the square for the x's. So I'm going to do half of 10. Half of 10 is 5. Squared is 25. And we're going to add that to both sides. So I'm going to put the 25 here on the right. And I'm going to rewrite the x's as x squared plus 10x plus 25. And then I'm going to factor, right? So we get x plus 5, x plus 5, which is x plus 5 squared. All right, so now we need to go to the y. So make sure you bring down that plus in there. So I'm going to do half of negative 14, which is negative 7, squared is 49. Make sure you add that to both sides. So 49 on the right. And then it's y squared minus 14y plus 49. We factor, we get x minus 7 times x minus 7, which is x minus 7 squared, equals, now you need to add the whole right side together. So when you add the right side together, you get 64. And now we can identify the center and the radius. So the center is negative 5, 7, and my radius is equal to 8. Okay, so that's it, and have a good night.